Let's return now to the Labour Party conference. On the day they'll promise not to return austerity, where the keynote speech will be given by the Chancellor Rachel Reeves at midday. I'm delighted to say that she joins us now, live from Liverpool. A very good morning to you, Chancellor.
Good morning.
I was very interested reading some of the trails of your speech today, but also your op-ed in The Times. And in that, you write, amongst various lines, that the future has never had so much potential. Are you making a concerted effort today to change the tone of the tune that you've been putting out on the economy?
Well, if we can bring stability back to the economy, then there is a chance that we can bring investment back to Britain and then grow our economy. And that is the prize on offer if we can bring that stability back. I've got a real problem with the what I can hear, I'm afraid.
Oh, I think it sounds like the Chancellor's getting a feedback of her own earpiece, guys. I don't know if we can correct that. Let me know if I can continue. Chancellor, perhaps you can continue, and hopefully any feedback has gone away. Chancellor,
that stability back and reform our economy.
Sorry, please continue.
It is that growth that has eluded us for the last decade or so. And when I go around the country and meet businesses big and small, whether it is entrepreneurs at the cutting edge of new technologies, or it's high street businesses bringing new life to their communities, or indeed big brands who look at Britain for the first time in a long time and see stability, that is what I want for Britain. More good jobs, paying decent wages, working people with more money in their pockets, and businesses looking at Britain, investors looking at Britain and choosing this country as a place to invest and create wealth and prosperity. That's a prize on offer if we can bring that stability back, which Conservative governments of the last 14 years have made harder through their choices.
It's interesting to hear you pledge again that you're not going to increase corporation tax this Parliament. It adds to the pledges not to change VAT, national insurance or income tax. It basically leaves very few taxes for you to address in the budget. Is it fair to say that capital gains tax in some capacity will be altered on 30th of October?
I'm not going to get into speculation about individual tax changes, but our manifesto commitments, which was not to increase taxes on working people, and that means income tax, national insurance and VAT rates, but also not to increase corporation tax, to cap it at its current level for the duration of this Parliament. Those are things we committed to in our manifesto, and we're going to deliver on those manifesto commitments. Trust in politics is at an all-time low. And that is largely because governments have promised one thing at elections and then they haven't followed through in government. And so our manifesto commitments about tax and in other areas as well, we will stick with those commitments and we will balance the books because bringing stability back, especially after what we saw with Liz Truss's mini budget 2 years ago today, but also the austerity, the Brexit without a plan, all of those things made Britain a less attractive place to invest. So bringing back stability, as well as the reform, the creation of the National Wealth Fund, the reforms of our planning system, unlocking investment from pensions to help start up and scale up businesses. This is all part of our agenda to be the most pro-growth government that this country has ever seen, because there is immense potential, huge potential in creative industries, in our professional services, in tech industries, low carbon technologies. I want those jobs here in Britain. There's a global race on for these jobs, but if we can make the changes, which I'm determined to bring about, I know we can get that investment to Britain, increase living standards, and more money in people's pockets, vibrant communities, stronger high streets, and Britain the best place to start and grow a business. That's my ambition, and that's what I'll start to set out in my conference speech today.
In the medium and long term, I certainly understand your argument about the Conservatives taking responsibility for the economic situation. In the shorter term, do you take responsibility for the fall in consumer confidence that we saw last week? It fell to a lowest level since January, the largest month-on-month fall since October last year. And Andy Haldane told Sky News last week, the former Bank of England chief economist, that the government had generated a fear and foreboding and uncertainty among consumers and businesses. Do you take some responsibility for the short term?
When I became Chancellor on the 5th of July, I came to learn of the true inheritance that the previous Conservative government left us, a £22 billion black hole in the public finances. The Conservatives covered that up from Parliament and they covered it up from the country. Now, I had a choice. I could have covered it up too and said, actually, that's bad news. We don't want to get that out because we want to boost confidence. Or I could have been honest and transparent and open about the scale of the challenge, that the road ahead is harder and steeper than we anticipated. And I made the choice to be open and honest because I think it's really important that we level with people. And the previous Conservative government didn't lose the election because everything was going really well. They lost the election because they'd lost control of the economy and public services were on their knees. And I think the public recognises that. What is really important, though, is that we set out a plan to fix the mess that we've inherited from the last government. And that's what I'll be setting out in my conference speech today. Yes, the difficult decisions, the hard choices, but also the prize on offer if we can return that stability and reform our economy. I've never been so optimistic about our country's future. If we can get this right, then there is no end to what we can achieve as a country. And that's what I'm determined to do, to unlock the real potential that we have through stability, through reform, and then crucially, through investment, which is the solution to the low growth that has bedevilled our economy this last decade or so.
Chancellor, there's been a big debate about freebies over the last week, and you've taken far fewer than some of your colleagues. No Arsenal tickets or Taylor Swift tickets, as far as I can see, but did take £7,500 worth of free clothes. My question on this, stepping back from it all, is if you deem it necessary to take those clothes to do your job well, as you have outlined was the case, is there a bigger question here that government ministers just simply aren't paid enough?
Well, this is something that in opposition I did. An old friend wanted to donate to my campaign and what she wanted to do was to help me choose clothes for the campaign trail and for big events. I really appreciated that support. It made a big difference to me. It was never something that I plan to continue in government. As Chancellor, that's not something I'll be doing, but I was grateful for that support. And politicians and politics and campaigns do rely on donations, but I do get people's concerns about it. It's why I think it's so important that politicians are always transparent and declare things that they get support with. I don't begrudge people going to watch a football match or going to a concert, but I think it is so important that things are done transparently and that now in government we hold ourselves to the highest possible standards.
Are politicians paid enough? Chancellor, are politicians paid enough?
Oh, sorry, sorry. Yes, I think that at a time when we're asking people to make sacrifices and when difficult choices are having to be made, I'm certainly not arguing for higher salaries for politicians. But political campaigns do rely on donations. To run the election campaign that we did with the materials distributed through people's letterboxes, the digital campaign that we ran, the billboards, etc., all of that requires donations. Taxpayers shouldn't have to fund political campaigns, but donations do. So we're grateful for the support that we had to run the campaign that we did, which now gives us this chance to change our country. And the fact that Labour received more donations than we ever have in our past, I think reflects the support from people right across the scale, from small donations from our members and supporters, from big donations from people who have been very successful in life. We appreciate those donations. It helps us to do our job of getting elected and making the change that our country desperately needs.
Chancellor, we thank you for your time today and apologies for those sound issues.
Thank you.